I'm going to record. All right. So everybody's here to get ready for 2022, to put their goals in place, to get their mind where their mind needs to be for their success. So I put together some things. I've stolen some things from other people. I've looked for new, fresh stuff to go over because obviously this isn't the first time we've ever dealt with goal setting and establishing and getting ready and prepared for 2022. So I see John Polar here. John, what's your why? Oh, he disappeared. He doesn't want to be seen. Are you there?
Repeat, I couldn't hear you.
I said, what's your why?
My wife for what?
All right, so we'll have to explain the why. The why for being in real estate, why for being at this meeting today.
Oh, well, why for being in meeting? I want to see what your thoughts are on my business plan.
Okay.
And real estate is a second career for me. I'm looking to dig in and do this for many years.
Okay. So your why is to establish your business plan, get it together, and to be successful in real estate. This new second career. Okay, that's a good why. But usually, what is your why? But why? Why do you want the success in real estate?
I've always done well in the business ventures I've had, and I want to make lots of money. Money's the bottom driving line here, I guess, and have some fun doing it.
All right. You want to be successful at something you're going to enjoy. So awesome. Okay. So here we go. I'm not going to put anybody else on the chopping block or put them out here to share their information. They can share in a little bit. All right. So what I'm going to do today is we're going to do a little bit of my conversations and my perspective on, getting people's heads in the game and utilizing things that I've learned from different speakers, from different other successful real estate agents and brokers and people in our industry. And I'm also going to use some videos because that way you don't have to just listen to me. I always like putting stuff out there. Hopefully you haven't heard these before. They've only been around a couple of years. If you have, it doesn't hurt to also listen and see what you take out of it today. Because remember, something that you think you already know all about that you can get bored about also might be like, I do need to revisit that, or I do need to rethink in a different. And remember, when you're thinking about something, you're also thinking about it in the perspective of today. So if you've ever heard something 20 years ago and you heard the same thing now, it may mean something completely different to you and you take it in differently. So that's also, so if you hear something, you go, oh my God, I've already heard about eat the biggest frog first or whatever, right? Well, you guys all know that, or maybe you read the book or whatever, but it's, again, maybe you need to revisit and say, am I actually doing that? How does it apply to me, the conversation I'm listening to, or the strategies that are being put in front of me as I am today? So let's go through this. Anybody that wants to ask a question, do not go into the chat. I never see the chats. I'm sorry, but looking at the screen and everything else, unless I actually, one of you are talking, maybe I can click on it, take a peek at it. But feel free to reach out. I think you guys can raise your hand, right? So that's another option. So that way I'm not missing it. So let's go on with this. I'm going to start off with, and I'm going to go back and forth to a couple topics. So it's not that I didn't put the slides in order, because I think I want to, start off one place and then revisit it at the end. So hopefully that works out. So I did this screen because I want to go right into this topic and see if I can click this right here. Oops. And if the sound is not coming in clear, please let me know.
So you want to know where to invest $1,000 right now?
Okay, hold on. You know what? I do have to switch the screen.
Taking America by storm right now.
Hold on. That's an advertisement.
And growing value over time, just like physical real estate.
Oh,
In fact, it's one of the easiest ways to
hold on one second.
Success means different things to different people.
Can you
For
hear it?
some, success might be
Little
financial
bit.
achievements. Becoming
A little bit.
millionaire, for example. For some, it might mean accolades. For some,
championships or medals. For some,
that better?
being successful might simply mean achieving a state of wellness, health, or happiness, whatever it means to you. Take note of these 10 habits of all successful people. They apply to any area and any meaning of success. Number 1, they set goals. You've probably never met a successful person who doesn't set goals. Because the chances of you finding what you want without a clear target to move forward are right around 0. If you don't know where you're going, you will end up someplace you didn't plan to be. Setting goals should be the number 1 priority for anyone seeking success. Define exactly what it is you want, your end goal. Break down exactly what is required to get there. Mini goals. Make sure your why, your reason for doing what you must do, is strong. So when you hit those roadblocks, when things go wrong as they always do, you have the strength and purpose to keep going. Number 2, they take responsibility for their life. Another key attribute of all successful people is they take complete responsibility for the success and the failures in their life. Unlike the majority, they never play the victim role. If something doesn't work out, they don't blame others. They learn the lesson. Learn one more way not to do something and move on quickly. Your energy is always best spent in the present and planning for the future. Your thought process should always be, how can I make this work? And what can I learn from this? Never living in the past or making excuses as to why you aren't where you should be. Remember, everyone suffers setbacks. Everyone has the opportunity to either blame others and circumstances or to focus on moving on and creating a better future. Regardless of what has happened, you decide what you do now. Number 3, they have great self-discipline. Discipline is a strong trait of all successful people, and it is one that can be developed with consistent use. Anyone that works from home or unsupervised knows the importance of self-discipline. When you are alone, will you choose to go through social media, watch cat videos on YouTube, or do something that will be beneficial for your future? It is much easier to have discipline if you have clear goals and a meaningful purpose, something that is much more important than meaningless distractions. Number 4, they are obsessed with self-development. You can't really claim to be successful if you have given up working on yourself. This doesn't mean you are never satisfied, just that you know it is human nature to want to grow and learn new things. Be open to learn new things and develop your mind through mentors, audiobooks, and reading. The more you learn, the more you will earn, financially and spiritually. Number 5, they read a lot. Reading is a common pastime of many highly successful people. The majority these days can't sit alone for 2 minutes without becoming bored, picking up their phone to go on social media, probably to post about how bored they are. Successful people, however, are almost always happy to be alone in quiet, to have the opportunity to read or listen to something that will benefit their mind. and their future. If you're not a reader, try audiobooks. You can play them in your car, in the gym, or while you shower, and use time that might normally be wasted to gain new skills, new strengths. Number 6, they manage their time well. Time management is essential to success. Unsuccessful people usually get stressed and overwhelmed when there are too many tasks on their to-do list. Successful people are rarely phased. They prioritize the big payoff and most rewarding tasks first and leave the insignificant ones to last, knowing it matters most to do the most valuable tasks first. Successful people plan in advance, days, weeks, months ahead, knowing clearly what needs to be done to complete their jobs and reach their goals. Number 7, they take risks. If you don't buy a ticket, you can't win the raffle. If you don't take big risks, you can't achieve big rewards. Successful people know that there will be times they will need to take risks in order to get where they need to go. Often, most people won't take those same risks for fear of failure. However, the greater failure to successful people would be that of regret. Risk going for the life you want, or guarantee living with one you don't want. Number 8, they keep going when they suffer failure and setbacks. We all suffer setbacks. Every single person that attempts to live their dream life will suffer through failure. Many of them might even lose everything. Most quit. The successful never quit. They keep going, knowing their greatest character is formed in adversity, knowing their success story is being written in every moment. And it will be especially good now they have a comeback story. Number 9, they find a way to win. Successful people find a way, period. Whatever life throws their way, they deal with it, dodge it, smash through it. Whatever is required, they find a way to win. It's the whatever it takes mentality. It's the confidence in knowing whatever happens, I will give my all and leave nothing on the table. I will find a way to win. Number 10, they do what they love. If you're not doing what you love, you can't really claim yourself a success. Spending the majority of your working hours, also known as the majority of your life, doing things you hate for money is not successful living. It's torture to the soul. If you need to suffer doing something you don't like to get to a life you love, do that. But do not lose sight of exactly that. Your ultimate purpose. Find your life purpose. Think of all the things you love to do more than anything in the world. Then brainstorm how you can turn those passions into profit. Doing what you love every day. Even if you were taking a pay cut, it will be worth it. Do what you love every day, and you will never work a day in your life.
All right, are y'all there still? Did I lose anybody?
We're here.
Still here.
All right. Any thoughts, feelings? How was that video? Has anyone seen it
Good.
before?
I think I've seen it. Very motivational.
Yes, I think that is a good video, very good. I think it puts everything together. I think if anybody got off of the training right now and just, you know, thought about some of the things that were said there and, you know, re-engaged, that would have been enough for today, right? But we're gonna do a lot more than that. So just FYI. So it's funny, they talked about you gotta love what you do. Right before, if some of you weren't on here, because some of you were jumping on later on, Dan was actually saying how, you know, the things he loved, you know, that this job is something that he's always loved. He loves helping people, you know, with their buying of their houses and, you know, whatever. And that's important because it's, you know, to continue to do something you love matters. Any other things any of you got out of it? Speak. I want some interaction today. This isn't like my sales meeting. Come on. No?
I'll say something. Well, yeah, well, I mean, it's up until the do what you love. I mean, I really just like lying around doing nothing, but I don't know how to turn that into moneymaker, but yeah, I mean, I find that being obsessed with things tend to go better when you're being obsessed with bettering yourself and self-development and learning how to be more disciplined and all those kind of things. Definitely is something I hadn't really thought about in a while.
Yep. So to have a passion for something. So if your passion is real estate, if you're whatever, that makes it, you know, people can feel that sense that you get the energy more than if you're just doing a job. I'll go and talk about someone I know that, you know, turned around and wanted to go into one field and decided, you know what, the successful place to be is being a doctor. And the guy went into becoming a doctor, and I see him years later, talk to him. He's miserable being a doctor. He never wanted to be a doctor. So you would think, oh my God, that's the ultimate success, right? He went to school, he went to college, he went to, you know, med school, whatever, and did all that he could establish to do that job, but yet is completely miserable in what he's doing. So, you know, that is important. And I think that's a good point, that you have to have the passion, the love of what you do. And every day you want to go wake up in the morning and make sure your mindset's on of why you're doing what you're doing. So you don't want to wake up in the morning. You don't want to be thinking about, oh my God, I just dealt with this crazy client and this thing fell apart and whatever else. You have to each morning wake up with a mindset that changes that. And one of the things is going to be that you have goals defined and you have visions to say, all right, remember what I'm here for. Remember why I'm waking up this morning and getting things started in my day, in my career in real estate. And what is my goal? What am I trying to achieve here? So that you continue to do, as they said in this video, the things that are self-disciplined, to do the prospecting, to do the lead generation, to do the self-development. Some of you are great about self-development, learning or whatever, but not as great on the implementation of prospecting and lead generation. Or like they said, the biggest task, you don't go and take on the priority task first. And we all have strengths and weaknesses, and we all fail. We're all going to fail at the things that we want to do. No matter, the most successful person has failures, but we have to each morning re-engage ourselves and say, you know, what's our goals, what's our priorities, and what success do we plan on having today? So I think that's key. Anybody else have any thoughts before we move on?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi. I think what you just mentioned, prioritizing the task, stuck out for me a lot, because I do tend to have a lot on my plate, not just with the real estate, but with things in general. So I think to not get overwhelmed and to tackle the most important things first, that really stuck out to me.
Great. Yes. Prioritizing tasks. It's so easy to wake up in the morning and either go at it in a chaotic way or to not prioritize, you know what? If I'm not doing the things that are prospecting and lead generating in real estate, then in fact, I'm gonna just, go at this in a peaks and valleys situation. I can be great at talking to people. I can be great at networking, what have you. But if I'm not consistently doing things to build up my database, to build up my sphere of influence, to turn around and do those things, then, and not prioritize those tasks at hand, then that's going to be a problem. So that's why you need to have the goal setting. That's why you need to have the task at hand, the things that need to happen. That's why you have to have the mini goals that are established. So after this meeting too, as I do with everything, I'm going to save this as a PDF so that you guys can go back and listen to the videos and, take the tasks that I'm going to have in here so that you can review it. So I'm going to do one more quick video before we actually get into the work part of it. Some of you have probably heard this one already as well. So here we go. And then I'll open it up and we'll do the regular training. Let's put this in.
Question: would you build a website for a major brand with more than 200 million users?
I'm going to talk to you about some things I've learned in my journey. Most from experience, some of them I heard in passing, many of them I'm still practicing, but all of them I do believe are true. Life is not easy. It is not. Don't try to make it that way. Life's not fair. It never was. It isn't now, and it won't ever be. Do not fall into the trap, the entitlement trap, of feeling like you're a victim. You are not. Get over it and get on with it. So the question that we got to ask ourselves is what success is to us, what success is to you. Is it more money? That's fine. I got nothing against money. Maybe it's a healthy family. Maybe it's a happy marriage. Maybe it's to help others, to be famous, to be spiritually sound, to leave the world a little bit better place than you found it. Continue to ask yourself that question. Now, your answer may change over time, and that's fine. But do yourself this favor. Whatever your answer is, don't choose anything that will jeopardize your soul. Prioritize who you are, who you want to be, and don't spend time with anything that antagonizes your character. Be brave, take the hill, but first answer that question, what's my hill? So first, we have to define success for ourselves. And then we have to put in the work to maintain it. Take that daily tally, tend our garden, keep the things that are important to us in good shape. Where you are not is as important as where you are. It is just as important where we are not as it is where we are. Look, the first step that leads to our identity in life is usually not, I know who I am. I know who I am. That's not the first step. The first step is usually, I know who I am not. Process of elimination. Defining ourselves by what we are not is the first step that leads us to really knowing who we are. You know that group of friends that you hang out with that really might not bring out the best in you? You know, they gossip too much, or they're kind of shady. They really aren't going to be there for you in a pinch. Or how about that bar that we keep going to that we always seem to have the worst hangover from? Or that computer screen, right? The computer screen keeps giving us an excuse not to get out of the house and engage with the world and get some real human interaction. Or how about that food that we keep eating? Stuff that tastes so good going down, it makes us feel like crap the next week. We feel lethargic and we keep putting on weight. Well, those people, those places, those things, stop giving them your time and energy. Just don't go there. I mean, put them down. And when you do this, when you do put them down, when you quit going there, when you quit giving them your time, you inadvertently find yourself spending more time and in more places that are healthy for you, that bring you more joy. Why? because you just eliminated the who's, the where's, the what's, and the when's that were keeping you from your identity. But trust me, too many options, I promise you, too many options will make a tyrant of us all. All right, so get rid of the excess, the wasted time. Decrease your options. If you do this, you will have accidentally, almost innocently, put in front of you what is important to you by process of elimination. Knowing who we are is hard. It's hard. Give yourself a break. Eliminate who you are not first. And you're going to find yourself where you need to be. Instead of creating outcomes that take from us, let's create more outcomes that pay us back, fill us up, keep your fire lit, turn you on for the most amount of time in your future. We try our best, we don't always do our best. Well, architecture is a verb as well. And since we are the architects of our own lives, let's study the habits, the practices, the routines that we have that lead to and feed our success, our joy, our honest pain, our laughter, our earned tears. Let's dissect that and give thanks for those things. And when we do that, guess what happens? We get better at them. And we have more to dissect. Be discerning. Choose it because you want it. Do it because you want to. We're going to make mistakes. You got to own them. Then you got to make amends. And then you got to move on. Guilt and regret kills many a man before their time. So turn the page, get off the ride. You are the author of the book of your life.
All right. Turn that off now. So, where'd you get out of that? Anybody?
I'm out of touch. I didn't realize Matthew McConaughey was a motivational and a business mogul.
Well, what did you think of that, though? I mean, I still thought it was.
It shocked the hell out of me that he was so good, so spot on, very impressive. Because the guy, if you know his history, came from incredible adversity to be who he is today. So I know his background. So it was very motivational.
Good, good. I thought that was very impressive. I love the whole idea of the mindset that he was discussing, the habits, the character, the fact that we're all going to have adversities and we just got to fight through them. What's the biggest adversity our whole environment and climate right now is having? It's dealing with this pandemic, it's dealing with COVID, it's dealing with all that. And it's a great thing to be an excuse maker, to feel like this is the reason why I can't succeed. And adversities are going to be with everybody. Obstacles are going to continue to exist. They existed in 2008. They existed in 2005 when the market was successful. People could have complained back in the greatest times of 2003 to 2006, right? But instead, you know, they saw the success, they went after it. Then we saw the failures of the markets in 2008, 9, and 10. But some people, even in those times, were becoming successful. So they, instead of looking for the reasons why they couldn't be successful, why they couldn't get a house sold, they figured out the ways to do that. And each morning they woke up and found it, you know, a new way to handle each one of these obstacles. So I thought both of these were great. Anybody else before we move on? And for some reason, I cannot see my view. I might have to get, I don't see any of you guys. You can see me, right? Maybe I have to unshare my screen. Let me unshare it real quick. See if you guys all pop back up. Stop the share. There you are. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to get back on the screen. Let's see. Nope, I still don't see you. So I don't know why my screen share, once I do that, I can't see anybody. All right, so let's continue. Maybe Rebecca can come in here and correct that for me. So back over to here. You have to challenge yourself. It's not complacency. If not, complacency sets in and bad things happen when people become complacent. So when you start having challenges and you don't challenge yourself, or you're just continuing to do the same routine, you may feel like everything's working fine, but if you're not paying attention and challenging and seeing what's out there, what's going on as far as technology, as far as how the market's changing, you then become complacent. You walk into a listing appointment, you think you've done the routine, it's always worked for you. And I saw this happen to some successful agents back in the past when technology was definitely changing, and what people's expectations are, or their benchmark of what they expected before they signed a listing agreement with someone changed just ever so slightly. And then they were like, what happened? How did I not get that listing? And or they continued to put on, say, poor quality photos that they got away with for years, and some other agents were stepping it up, and they were doing virtual tours, and they were doing other things that were just exceeding their clients' expectations again. So those agents that were so used to being higher than the benchmark, you know, at one point in the industry, then realized, guess what? They needed to step it up. They didn't learn it till they, you know, went back and debriefed and said, what am I doing? What could I be doing differently? So I'm going to say this, and it's very important. Do not be complacent with your approach with your listing appointments, with your approach with your elevator speeches, with assuming you know what the market's doing right now. I would not get on the phone with someone if I hadn't checked out their area in a few weeks and act like you know what's going on with that neighborhood, right? So, you know, again, it's very important to have all the skills that are necessary and have things established, because you're used to doing that. So if you're an experienced agent, you can get away with a lot when you're in front of somebody, because you know the speech, you know how to bring on the like, trust, care, competence, worth. You have the elevator speeches of the past, so you've retained them. But there are times that we know we have to step up, that we are going to be in competition with other agents. So we can do the lead generating, we can do the prospecting, we can get the opportunities to at bat. But if we are not keeping up with our abilities, then we're gonna lose that listing that we really wanted. And what does that listing mean to us? And if we're measuring it, so when we go to our goal settings and we go to create the task at hand, and we turn around and we're measuring our, you know, what we're doing to make sure we're going to hit those goals, we're going to see that some of these were not successes, and we're going to need to understand why we didn't get that listing, why we had that opportunity at play, but, you know, we failed to close it, or we got this listing and, you know, we lost the listing. Now, which is almost sounds impossible right now because it's a seller's market, but this is something that we need to take into consideration every day and look at, not negatively. And sometimes there's things that are out of our control. Sometimes you've just got the craziest client in the world, and they might be more energy than it's worth, and may not be something that's going to, at the end of the day, we're going to exceed their expectations. They're going to give us future referrals, and we're going to be able to put them in our systems that we're going to talk about, as far as, you know, developing that relationship, having them in a CRM. They may be, and some people out there talk about their A, B, C, and D list. They may be someone that would be on the D list. Even if you finished them, got them the settlement, you don't want to deal with them anymore. But then there's going to be the other people that we should have gotten. They should have been in our book of business. And because we didn't establish from the goals all the way to making sure that we established a routine to put our sphere of influence, our contacts, and everybody into our system, whatever system that might be, whether it's Moxie, whether it's another CRM out there. And that's what you have to establish, because I don't want you to take it on any type of programs that I tell you to use that you're not enjoying. So if you don't enjoy something, get another program, do another app, do another, CRM. But the thing is, you want to make sure that you're doing stuff that works for you. If we go back to doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So if for whatever reason you don't enjoy a specific type of product or whatever, then go do something different. Don't just try to wing it. Make sure that that you are using a system that works for you. If setting up and organizing something is not working, come meet with me so we can try to work together to see what would work for you to make you more successful. We want you to succeed. You want to succeed. And anybody that's on this call right now is not on this call because it's our Wednesday morning meeting. This training's established to get your mind in the right mindset to turn around and set up your goals. As John was saying earlier, he wants to get his business plan in order and move out to become more successful in 2022. So one of those things is to make sure that you are thinking every morning about your prospecting, about your CRM, and making sure that you're there and you are tending to that garden, as Matthew just said in the video, and making sure that you can cultivate the leads and not have regret that you have missed opportunity on business. So let's go over a couple of these things that I jotted down. Are you still winging it or going at your business chaotically? I've just brought that up a little bit about the peaks and valleys and whatever, because you're not doing things consistently. That is a true indication of needing to set up your goals, needing to set up a habits, attitudes, and skill. And importantly, in this situation, your habits. Are you waking up in the morning with good habits, consistent? And that's your personal life, that's your health, and that's your business life. Granted, you could have some kind of high risk health issues, or you could have some personal issues happening right then and there. We all go through times in our lives where these kind of things happen. They're outside of our control. Some of them, maybe some of them aren't. But one thing we need to do is understand how to manage those situations and manage our business life. So our personal and business life matter, and every morning we have to wake up and understand how we're going to handle those. So did you establish your goals, your why? I discussed that right in the very beginning. Some of you weren't here. You have to have a why. So if you don't have a why, then you're going to bounce around and do your business, and this is going to be a job, and, hopefully you'll be busy. Hopefully people give you referrals, whatever. But if you have a why and you establish your goals and you establish mini goals, and then you wake up every morning with a purpose, that's going to change how your business looks in 2022. So someone who was in here yesterday talking to me that they wanted to get on here because they wanted to do X amount in volume in 2022. So there's a goal they're setting. There's a why that they already have. And now they have to do things to establish how to get to that goal. And then they have to have a way to measure it as they're going along. Again, I said, are you eating your biggest frog first? Are you taking on those tasks that are prioritized? Doing the tasks that matter, measuring results and trying new prospecting ideas. So again, there's stuff going on out there. If you're going to be complacent, then that may get you business. But as things are changing and as you want to build your business, you got to work on trying other things as well, trying other tasks, trying other prospecting ideas, and then using that. Don't throw away the things that are still working. If they're working, you keep them in a consistent use and continue to utilize those tasks that create the lead generation, prospecting, and create those results. But in addition, you need to be doing things that add to the results so that, and things will actually transition that way, because I can tell you, agents that were doing business in the 90s have to do things differently now. Some of the things they continue to work for them. And we'll get into some of what I call the old school versus the new stuff that you need to do. Sharpening your skills, working on, so we know strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I know any of you who've done any business training or any sales training hear that all the time. So just because you have strengths doesn't mean you don't sharpen the skills of your strengths, but the weaknesses, you got to either figure out how to work on those weaknesses or how to delegate those weaknesses. That is a key to being successful as well. All right. The most successful people, I love this part of the 10 habits, was they are obsessed with self-development. So there's some successful agents on this training right now that they make sure they attend trainings. They make sure they are reading information that they will learn from. They make sure that they re-engage themselves every morning, but they are obsessed with their self-development. If they're not, they become what the 2 slides ago said was complacency. So that is very important. Dreams without goals are just dreams, and they ultimately fuel disappointment. So that's clear as day. 7 reasons you should set up goals, take control of your life, get maximum results, create laser focus, create accountability. It motivates you and be the best you can be. Live your best life. So again, kind of coincides with what we just listened to in the 2 videos. Sure, you've seen this acronym, the SMART goals. Be specific. What do you want to do? Measure. Again, I sound repetitive, and I said in the very beginning I was going to sound repetitive. How to track your progress. So that you've got to have ways to measure and track your progress. Attainable. Make sure that it's not some crazy goal. If there's an end goal 5 years from now, that's great. That you want to have a $10 million house in, Palm Beach or whatever, that's fine. Have that goal with 10 years from now. And I'm not saying that's unreasonable or unattainable. What it's saying is, this is 2022. Here's where you are. Here's where you want to get. Make that goal attainable. Relevant. Is it relevant right now? And then timely. When will you achieve it? So again, what's your goals for 2022? What's your goals 5 years from now? Whatever, and make it make sense. The big fear. This is definitely a reality we all face. We all have fears. Fears of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. This is what keeps people from stepping out and stepping up. I think that is a key thing to think about. So a lot of people might think, I'm not afraid of anything. Well, then what is holding you back from being successful? You went through the process of becoming a realtor. You've gone and learned all these apps, all these tasks. You've attended all these meetings and trainings. But why aren't you setting your goals? Why aren't you measuring your goals? Why aren't you looking at your success? Why aren't you trying to establish that this year I plan on doing this many transactions? And then in order to do this many transactions, I need to know how many people I intend to, prospect, and how many people I would have to turn from being a potential client to actually being my client, and then to, measure that. So obviously Moxie is one of the ways you could do this. And I'm sure if you've entered into Moxie this week or the last few weeks, you've had your goal settings come up, and the ability to measure those, and the ability to see where those prospects are in your success to making them clients and past clients that are becoming possibly your future client, or again, repeat clients. So success, if you are doing something you love, do it completely. So some of us get into things and it's like that cold water down the beach. You want to jump into it and you put your toe in it. You're like, but you put your up to your ankles, but you're afraid to jump in. So why are you hesitating when you know that you want the success, but you only go at it halfway? You go in, learn how to use BombBomb, for instance, to reach out to people, but then you don't implement it. You go and learn a little bit about Moxie, but yet you don't clean up your listing presentation to be completely ready, so that when you get a call on a specific property, that you have one that's established, if it's a row home in Fed Hill or Canton versus a property out in Moncton or whatever. So did you do all the things in your tools, and why would you only go half the distance? Why wouldn't you be prepared for the lead that comes in? Why wouldn't you be prepared ahead of time for a listing appointment? If you have an open house, did you establish it? You put it in for 12 to 2, and you didn't do all those other things that could have been a lead generating opportunity. That's going at it halfway instead of completely. So you rush in at 11:15, you get some signs, you get a couple balloons, you show up and you're like, look, I did the task. I didn't get that many leads, or I didn't get any leads. Well, what did you do all the way to prep? Because we've done the open house trainings, we've done all those other things to establish the fullest opportunity to generate leads from it. Did you put it out there on social media? Because guess what? You put it out there, people see it, they say, oh, John does real estate. He's doing an open house today. Look at him preparing to do an open house. He did a little Instagram or TikTok video. Then he put it out there for 800 people to see, or 2,000 people to see. So did he just go into 12 to 2 and hope people were walking in the door? Or did he fully utilize the opportunity for people to see him and get exposure to get the future business, or, from that lead, or from that opportunity, I should say. So that's the difference between doing something halfway and doing it completely. Again, this is just a couple examples. I could keep doing it, but hopefully you understand that. Has anybody ever just done an open house, or did an open house and given it its full exposure and seen a difference of the benefits? Anthony, I know you step it up, you give out all kinds of things just to get people to come to your open houses. Are you still here? I don't even know if you are.
Yes, I am. And yes, we do. Very aggressive social media posting to all the different sites, but then internally to Sphere posting.
Excellent, excellent. And you agree, you probably have, well, I don't know if you would have, but you've seen the difference where some people just do an open house and other people give it their full opportunity to generate business from it.
What I see is, especially when the client doesn't follow our guidance on giving enough prep time to do the open house, the results suffer. When you get somebody that you're trying to get a listing all ready to go midweek, so you have enough prep time, versus the client that, you got everything done because they didn't get back to you with paperwork till Friday morning, and then you're rushing to do an open house that weekend, you're going to suffer with attendance. So yeah, absolutely.
So he's saying you get the right client that listens to you, trusts you, and says, you know what? I picked you because you're the professional. I'm going at this blindly, trusting that, you absolutely know what you're doing. And because they listen, it's not only beneficial to the agent, but that it's beneficial to the clients as well. And when we have that client that doesn't listen to us, you don't get the full exposure, the full opportunity. It's not going to have the same results. So good information. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right. Can you see my screen, or you don't see it right now?
We don't see your screen, or I don't.
I thought so. This is so weird today. Let me see. I'm gonna try it one more time. There you go. Let's see if it works. All right.
Yep.
So we are all going to fail at some point in our lives. We are all going to have fear of rejection. It is the ticket to the game, the fear of the unknown. We can process a specific failure we are worried about. We can process a rejection and how it hurts or stings, but the fear of the unknown, it holds a lot of people back. It is not clear how it is going to end up. Then you talk yourself out of doing something. So again, one of the things I always try to tell people, and especially when we were changing from just emailing people and, you know, going on appointments and all to more video, more, you know, back when the pandemic was going on, more virtual stuff, people were like, oh, I don't want to look foolish. I don't look as attractive as so-and-so. I'm not that well with speaking to people on video. Everybody that does that to themselves holds themselves back. My voice doesn't sound right. My hair doesn't look right today. I mean, you could come up with excuse after excuse, but yet and especially if you're in the industry, what others are doing and what others are doing to achieve, and you hold yourself back. I'm just giving you one example, but there's many examples on this. Don't talk yourself out of doing things that are going to make you successful, that are going to help you get a property sold, that are going to help you lead generate. So you get an opportunity for a listing. Some people go and they prep all the way till they make the property active. And other people, they just make the property go active. What's the difference in it? The ability for lead generation and opportunity. That is a waking up in the morning and saying, with habits and attitude that say, I want to make this more out of this situation than less. So you fully immerse yourself into coming up with ways to make something successful. Whether it's, like I said, a new listing, a new opportunity, a new buyer, a new contact. Some people get a contact and oh my gosh, this could open up the world with 20 or 30 new leads, and others turn around and they just do the minimal with that person and wind up going, I'm not hearing from them anymore. What happened? Go to someone else. Again, understand your opportunities. Don't second guess yourself, and then go after it with the enthusiasm and the mindset that it requires to be successful. What does the why mean? Why comes from within you. It's a feeling that compels to do the work you want to do, even if it requires short-term sacrifices. Regardless of the sacrifices, you still feel driven to pursue work that you really want to, because it gives you meaning. You can't imagine doing anything else. So, we just again, we talked to Dan. Dan said he's been doing it forever, and it was, it gives him purpose. He loves what he does. What is your why? By this, I mean, what you believe in, what motivates you, what fuels your actions in the world, at work, at home. Knowing your why, being able to articulate and explain it, and being able to recognize when your work is aligned with it can be extremely powerful. So again, you might have hoped that I was just going to give you a bunch of handouts that show you how to set your goals, how to do your planning, but I really need to get into your head first about your mindset and about your habits and attitude and skills, and then the why. Because if you don't establish these things, you're not going to care one bit about some forms to fill out, to look at, to write down goal settings or anything else. You really have to buy into this. And again, I see many agents, we talk about the 80-20. Really, it's a 90-10 rule to me. 10% succeed, the 90% don't succeed, or they're complacent in what they do. But we go out to these events. Some people love the Brian Buffini's, the Tom Ferry's, old days of Ziegler. All these people are great, they all have the right thoughts and mindsets and trainings and whatever. And we all get enthusiastic and excited, and we go out the door going, yeah, I know what I need to do now. I'm going to do it. But again, life gets in the way. Negativity gets into your mind. A pandemic appears. A family member gets sick, whatever it is. And then all of a sudden that goes on the back burner because the new priority, which may be legit or not, becomes that thing. But you have to wake up the next morning and say, what are my goals? What is my why? And then get back to the activities and at hand and the mini goals that must be established and performed each day to get to your big goal. Or else you're going to be complacent again. You're going to be doing just what you're going to do. It's going to be chaotic. And then there's going to be resentment later when you look back and say, how did I not have that success this time? And we all have defense mechanisms, and some of our defense mechanisms are going to be, well, I don't have what so-and-so has, or I don't have the opportunities, or imagine me trying to do this and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you know, we can all do that. We can all play victim, and not all of us were, you know, given the same equal opportunities when it comes to life and health and wherever we are in our lives, but we all have the ability to achieve. So you got to set your goals, and they don't all have to be the same. And that's why we're here. But we have to be accountable for what we do. Let's go here. Hopefully you guys can see this.
To wonder, what is the power of an artifact? Writing it down. What impact does that have on our commitment? So Dr. Gail Matthews from the Dominican University of California was so curious about this that she actually did a real experimental study on this thought of writing goals down and the impact it has. So let's dive into it. What were the different groups that were tested? What were the differences between these groups? And really, what did this study show? Let's talk about group one. Participants in group one were simply asked to think about their goals, to think about what they wanted to accomplish in the next 4 weeks, and they were asked to rate that goal. Group two was a little bit different, and this was true for groups 3, 4, and 5. They were also asked to type that goal down, right? Just type it into an online survey and rate their goal by some certain dimensions, how capable they thought they were of fulfilling these commitments and things like this. Now, when we look at group three added something. They were asked to write down specific action commitments. So not the far off goal, but there's different steps. And you could even think of them as promises that were going to get them to that goal. Group 4 was asked to write down their goals in that online survey, but they were also asked to send that, email that goal to a supportive friend, someone that could maybe hold them accountable to what they said they would do. Now, Group 5 is the last group. They were asked to not only think about the goal, not only write it down, to send it to a friend, but also send a weekly update to say, hey, how are things going? And in fact, the university itself would send reminders to make sure that this communication was happening, as we sometimes forget to follow up on these things. And so this is the differences between group 1 through 5. What was the difference? What was the difference in mean goal achievement, meaning the average number of goals that were achieved? I think one of the biggest differences you see right off the bat is the difference between unwritten goal and written goal. There's a 42% increase in goal attainment with just simply writing the goal down. That is the only difference. And then when we look at the difference between group 1, who had unwritten goals, and that group 5, who not only wrote them down, they also emailed it to a friend, had those updates, the goal attainment rate increased over 77%. This is the power of writing it down. Now, I think it's important we ask the question, why is this true? And while we may not have that answer right now, I believe that part of it is just bringing our focus to that. We say so many words a day. We have so many thoughts and ideas. Priorities bounce up and down, but when we bring it into reality, when we actually write that down, it takes on a different life.
All right. So thoughts on that?
This is Tamika. Hi. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I had a supervisor a few years ago who was very big on Zig Ziglar and, you know, did goals setting meetings with us and talked about writing goals. And he showed us a stack of notebooks that he kept over the years where he wrote goals every night. And I started to do the same thing, not as consistent he is, but the things that I wrote, I have done. And I picked it up again, doing just writing things down. And I find that I do that. If I write it down, even if I come back to it every once in a while, I accomplish that goal.
Awesome. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you, Tamika. So yes, she's absolutely right. And you saw the 42% increase just by writing it down. And it sounds like even a higher success rate if you start really focusing, making it accountable, share it with your significant other, share it with a friend, share it with your manager. Again, those things have an impact, right? Again, with self-awareness, we talked about strengths and weaknesses. It's really key that you understand your strengths and weaknesses, right? So let me see if I can keep those screens going. Hold on. All right, there we go. All right, areas of opportunity. Some of us, you know, we work on, you know, the things we know, but then we don't work on some of the things that we're still scared about, that we still have fears that we'll fail at it, as far as prospecting and prospecting ideas, or reaching out to people that we think may not take us seriously. Or we already go, oh, well, they're already dealing with so-and-so, or they're never going to use me. You need to step up, take those risks, and reach out to them. You can get preoccupied with all the other factors, the environmental factors around you, or you can make sure that you are focused on what the things opportunities at hand that you can turn around and make lead generating opportunities. And every morning, again, refocus on what those tasks are that are going to be prioritized to make you successful. And then be laser focused at it. So let's go here. Where did you, one of the most important things at the end of the year, you know, especially if you are trying to figure out how to make yourself better as far as success. Remember, better means different things for different people, but more successful in sales volume, in business, and building up new clients is, where did your business come from in the last 12 months? Did it come from your sphere of influence? Did it come from open houses? Did it come, floor duty is something that's definitely changing, but yes, did it come from floor duty? Did it come from organizations you belong to? Did it come from lawyers that you know, or estate planners, or what have you? Sometimes they're great sources of lead gen that you know, and you feel like, I don't want to bother them. So many times we give recommendations over and over again, but we're never willing to ask those people for business. We're never willing to bring it back up. Maybe we brought it up when we first got into business, but we haven't revisited those people, and we feel like we were already rejected, and we don't think of a new way and a new approach to reach out to them. We just get frozen. We have fear again. You need to figure out your why and what's important to you, and hopefully that will help you eliminate that fear to go out and go for those parties and those people you're already connected to, but yet you haven't generated any business from. Expireds, social media. I go over it and over it again. Some of you go, don't see the value in it. Others already know it's valuable because you've generated leads, you've generated referrals. I told you the stories at some of the meetings where 1 minute on TikTok, for the first time I was ever on it, I connected with this agent who already needed help with a referral in DC. So again, if you don't try the opportunity, you don't know where the success is going to be, right? Grocery stores, mailings, internet, buying leads, whatever you're thinking, and put them in and prioritize you know, where that business is coming from. 30% is coming from sphere of influence, 10% is coming from here, 5% is coming from there. So please make sure you're doing that. And I will put PDFs up on our Facebook group page. Don't think I'm not just giving you any documents to use to work on your goals and your strategies and your business plans, but I'm just, again, this is to get your head in the game for 2022. What can we learn? Current strengths, areas of opportunity, laser focus. We already talked about that. So here are some ways to grow your business, your database. Again, database is key.
We're not seeing your screen, right?
Oh, I lost.
You don't see your screen.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. Who just told me before Dan?
Melanie.
Thanks, Mel. Dan, you're fired. All right. I'm kidding. Dan's a good sport. I tease him all the time. So let's see if I can get the screen back on here. Hold on. There we go. You should be able to see my screen now. I apologize. So your database, one of the best ways to grow your business is through your current database. Remember that the average consumer moves every 10 years. If you message your database and provide more value than other agents, you can potentially convert 10% of the annual database into a transaction. When communicating consistently and effectively to your own sphere, you should close one sale for every 6 contacts in your database. So again, if you think that that number is too high, then you need to create a bigger database, do other things to be more effective with the consistency. So that's another way to measure your success and to make sure you're doing it. I had an agent one time say she generated leads just because she started looking at her database again, that she said, I had to re-look at my database. And by doing that, it forced me to see it. And then I contacted people and generated business from it. Again, we get so caught up in other things in our lives sometimes that we miss the opportunities. So they're right there. Our contacts are right there. So now we have the contacts. What are we doing to generate leads from those contacts, right? Advertising on Facebook, advertising on Instagram, again, I see some of these people getting 1 million followers on TikTok, right? Which everybody can think it's crazy. There's stupid things on there, stupid things on Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. But I've also seen people get leads and business off of that platform as well. So look at your platforms, look at what you could be doing. Again, it's amazing that if you're out there and getting exposure, that somebody can reach out to you and say, hey, I have a grandmother in Baltimore, or even, hell, they could even reach out and say they have a grandmother in DC. And you go, you know what? I don't go as far as DC, but then you can give that referral out. And that grandmother happened to have a $2 million house. It was getting ready to, put it up for sale and move to where they are, move to, a condo. And that connection can be several $1,000s. So again, how hard is it to make sure you're doing these type of things, to make these databases, to turn around and be consistent on social media and make sure you extract. So if somebody's reaching out to you in the inbox back and forth with Facebook and it was a longtime friend or someone from high school, are you taking that person and making sure that you stick them intentionally into your CRM, your database, your Moxie, and reaching out to them multiple times after that? They might have reached out to you about something about a rental or something about a refi or whatever else. And then now you've established them. They can still be your future business. Maybe they're reaching out about a refi because they're trying to get a refi to cash out, and you send it to Dan. Dan does the refi for them. They do a renovation because they plan on the next 18 months selling their house anyway.
Right.
And says, please just tell them not to do less than 6 months, right?
Yes.
So, anyway, True stories. All right, Mindshare marketing guidelines. I'm not gonna do that right now with you guys. All right, so Zillow, again, we know how we feel about Zillow, and we've seen the stories right now. Instagram, Twitter, contact marketing through videos. I've exhausted you guys with that trainings and what have you. Some of you that are on here right now have actually listened to me and grown with BombBomb and have seen the light. So congrats to those. The other 90% who go, oh no, that seems stupid, I don't want to use it. Again, 90-10 rule. So you're going to miss out on that opportunity. And you can use BombBomb, and I can teach you other ways that aren't BombBomb related to get out there and do video content that goes out and hits your, sphere of influence, or hits people individually or in small groups. But BombBomb does give you the ability to do a quick record, have templates set up, and send out to somebody on specific topics. So again, value propositions, making sure you're giving things of value, making sure when they think real estate, they're thinking you, and also remembering house anniversaries. We could go on with the topics, but holidays. And again, we talked yesterday about community. There's a lot going on with COVID right now and Omicron. Are you reaching out to people and showing that you care? Be sensitive with that. Again, we don't want to be in fear of the disease. This is something that's part of our lives. This is an obstacle that exists, but it should not be an obstacle that suppresses you from succeeding. Here are some ways to grow your business: geographic farming, direct mail, professional networking. Again, it's very important. Making sure you follow up. This is a key in our business that, we always seem to struggle with. It might seem like a no-brainer. Having a solid follow-up plan in place is key to your success. Again, this is something just like your goals, just like your task at hand for mini goals. Following up is a system in place, and it is just as important. You can write down that goal all you want, but if you're not taking people and those opportunities you have, and those people that are 3 months out, 6 months out, 18 months out, whatever it is, and having a follow-up plan, you are losing business. It's a missed opportunity. So follow-up, it might seem like a no-brainer. Having a solid follow-up plan, the key to your success. Being faster to contact your leads is important, as well as following up several times. Studies show agents who follow up 5 or more times earn 122% more than agents who follow up 3 times or less. 3 keys to following up: using lead management. Again, if you're going to poo-poo one type of lead management thing and it's not working for you, go to another one. And then brag to me. Tell me which one you find the most success in. I'll share it with the next person. I don't care. I want you successful. Have every new lead on a 3 to 10 short-term follow-up system, 3 attempts a day for 10 days, and then into ongoing nurturing emails, mail systems. It's the person who says, oh, I don't want to bother them anymore, and then lets them stretch out, and then all of a sudden they go, oh my God, look, they turned around and they listed with someone else, or they turned around and bought with somebody else. It is really a lot more work right now in a seller's market with no inventory to stay engaged with your buyer, keep them focused and keep them happy and keep them believing and trusting in you, while they miss out on a house and they're waiting and they're not finding that property they want to write an offer on because they're so low inventory, right? You need to show them your value proposition. You need to let them see your enthusiasm for going out and trying to find other properties. You need to use those templates that I've given you guys to send out to show that's your value proposition. Because if they see you working hard, even if they haven't gotten a contract ratified, they're still going to talk about you to other people that might be buying or selling your property. Stay on them. Think of this, be consistent. Do not say, you know what, I have nothing new to share with them. I don't want to disappoint them, so I'm not going to email, call, or text them today. That's failure. What we have to do in a buyer's market with sellers is the reverse in a seller's market with buyers. Does that make sense to you guys? Do you understand the why that's the issue?
No.
Okay. What we have to do in a seller's market with buyers is the same thing we have to do in a buyer's market with sellers. Because in a buyer's market, the property sits and sits, and they may not get an appointment for 20 days. How do you think that makes a seller feel? They're pretty anxious. They start finding criticisms in you. If you show up 5 minutes late for an open house, or you didn't follow up with them on a right away on a feedback, all of a sudden they start, criticizing or trying to find the excuse for the defense mechanism, as we talked about, as to why their house is not selling. And of course, it's not their house and it's not the price. It's always the agent. So be careful. In the reverse, we might know that, hey, what do they expect? There's one property coming up. They're not a cash buyer willing to pay 20% more with no contingencies. So it's not my fault. Well, guess what? That's not always going to work. So you have to have the right communication. You have to have the consistent systems in place to continue to connect with those people and talk to those people, just like you will when the market changes, and it will change, and you have to have conversations with your sellers.
Hey, Guy.
Yes.
In the one thing I've noticed in this market, as you said, buyers get very frustrated, especially if they lose once or twice. And I'll find a lot of times they'll confide in me their frustration with, as you said, they focus on the realtor and they'll say, I keep losing houses, and they think that it's the realtor. And I reassure them, well, I do two things. I reassure them that it's the market, that they're doing everything the right way. And then I also give the realtor a heads up that they're getting frustrated, and make sure they understand that you're doing everything you can do. And that way you don't all of a sudden get ghosted and then find out they're with another realtor.
And I can tell you, there's been times, unfortunately, in our office where a agent has not been communicating on a consistent basis.
Mm-hmm.
And the loan officer, Dan, Christina, turn around and tell me, Guy, how do I tell this to the agent? They're working with another realtor now. And you know why they're working with another realtor? Because it's your fault. No, because they turn around and they're seeing other people get a house under contract, where they're hearing things and they're like, why isn't my agent doing this? And again, you may be doing what the other agent would have done anyway, but you didn't articulate it well enough. You didn't communicate it with them well enough. Or maybe it's not well enough. Maybe you need to listen to see what they are understanding and hearing so that you can articulate it in a way they get. And again, Dan's telling you something else, which is also sometimes he can feel the temperature of that buyer, and he will share that with you. But communication between you and the lender are key too, to making sure. And of course, Dan told you yesterday, do everything you can to get that person absolutely qualified and ready to roll. I was just talking to Mervin. I don't know if he's still on here or not. He said he got his people all the way to, with Christina, all the way to say, hey, they're certified, ready to go. And that actually helped him after the struggles of not getting his buyer under contract. So again, that's key. Communication, doing all you can do and letting your client know these are the steps to make it a higher probability that we have success in getting you the home you want it to get. All right, scoring, I'm going to put all this out. Do you have central list of people who can benefit you or your business? Is the database uploaded into a CRM? Do you have people divided and measured? Do you routinely add people and update? So here's all the scoring guides. So I'll upload this. And again, I'm not going to bore you. So you can see personal development, Focus on lead generation. Don't be one of, again, I know this in the first time I just said this in this training. I know it's not the first time I said this in other trainings. Don't be the one of the majority of agents who drift during the holiday season. So we just went through the holidays. Now we're up in here. So make sure that you are doing things for lead generation. I don't care what's coming up right now. We got President's Weekend and then we got Valentine's Day, right? So what are you going to do for Valentine's Day? I know that sounds silly, but some agent out there is going to do something special, customize something, send it out to their clients and connect with people. Again, you want to do things that get you recognized. Mindset is critical. We've talked about it over and over again. We have all seen ourselves we all have to see ourselves at our best. So the mindset is critical. Let's see. Be the biggest competitor, challenge yourself each day to be better than you were yesterday. So a lot of people say this all the time. They're like, I'm not busy paying attention to what everybody else is doing. This one's doing this one. This one's bouncing around doing this, whatever. I'm focusing on bettering myself that I was in 2021 or 2019 or 2015, whatever it is. And I am going to be better at this than I was before. I'm going to be better at my career, better at my health, better at my way I treat others around me. I am going to make myself better because that will make me more successful. And let's see if I can put this on. See, it gives myself a break and gives you guys a break. You're still seeing my screen, right?
My name is Josh, and I've been a Forward member for 5 months. Before Forward, I was overweight, I was exhausted all the time.
Some build, others tear down. Some take risks, others critique the risk takers. Some pursue the infinite, others settle for a life of limitation. Some make change, others complain that things are no longer the same. Some help people grow, others think that your loss is their gain. Some learn from misfortune, others become held down by it. Some turn fear into opportunity, others avoid the unknown. Some never stop learning, others think they have all the answers. Some do, others talk. Some give, others take. Some live, others wish. Some see an opportunity, others see an obligation. Some work toward the possibility of excellence, others run from the possibility of defeat. Some fall and get back up, others stay where they are so that they never have to worry about leaving their feet. Some embrace the elements, others take shelter. Some search, seek and discover, others wait to be told. Some perform, others watch. Some persist, others stop. Some make the most of every single day. And others watch those very same days go by. So which one are you? What will you create with the pieces presented to you? Not tomorrow or the next day, but right now and every second moving forward. Will you build or tear down, take the easy road or the road less traveled? When all is said and done and you've come to the end of your story, what will it say?
What'd you think of that one? Still there? Did I
Love
lose
it.
you? Huh?
Great stuff.
That's great. Again, I'm if we were in a actual conference room, I'd probably be bouncing off the walls right now with Anthony, I'm sure, right? So two Italians get all excited about this enthusiasm. It's like a Rocky show, right? But seriously, so much truth in that. So much truth in that. Again, it's great that, this is getting, making you guys focus on what we need to do with goal planning and, and setting up your task and things at hand that you need to do, and what our mindset needs to be. But again, today is January 6th, and we have 340 some days left. I can't do the math, or 359 days, whatever it is left, right? So make sure you make the best of it. Make sure that today, when you get off the training session, that you don't go, oh, that was good. I like what so-and-so has said. I loved it, hearing that piece from McConaughey. That quote was excellent, blah, blah, blah. I really do need to get set up on my CRM, on Moxie. Guy was right when he touched on the fact that I should be doing things to sharpen my skills. But if you do not write up your goals right now, set those things to do when you get off this training right now, it's going to go, you're all caught up in the chaos again. So again, you're going to have to focus. You got to have the habits and attitudes and skill. You've got to get the mindset to give. Let me just tell you that one of those comments is so key. Those agents who do these tasks where they say, you know what, in part of my lead generation task, I know it sounds, definitely it sounds canned, but they make sure they create things of giving back to their previous clients, giving back to their community, giving back to their sphere of influence, giving back to their family and friends. When you give things of value to people and you're giving and not just taking, guess what? People will passively give you things and know you're in the business, and people will be more open when you are asking for the business. I hope I articulated that correctly. But that is so key. Incremental changes. I'm going to finish up real quick right here. I've got about a few more minutes, so I hope everybody's gaining from this and not falling asleep. Incremental change, a small adjustment made towards an end result in business environments. An incremental change to the way that things are done typically doesn't significantly alter current methods. So many listing agent listings and offers accepted are lost at the listing appointment by a minimum amount of extra preparation that could have been done. I hope you understand what I'm saying, that a minimum amount, sometimes just cleaning up and revamping and working on something a little more, just that much more can make the difference between success and not success in submitting an offer, doing a listing, converting a lead into a potential buyer or seller. Just a little bit. I always give the story of right before technology really was coming to fruition, a client of mine that I turned around and, did a simple, hey, I'll email you a listing. No one was emailing listings yet. That wasn't a thing, but they were a little bit cutting edge. And when I sent, oh, you can email me listings, all of a sudden I stepped it up just a smidgen to people that were not going to want anything to do with me. Didn't seem like I was connecting with them. So then I was doing that, and I really wasn't getting a response. Finally, they wanted to see a property. Then I, put on my charm, like, trust, care, confidence again, and then built the relationship, sold their house, listed their other house. Years later, as a manager, gave 3 pieces of business that came from them. Didn't forget about them, sent them, stuff because I knew where they worked, even a stupid little coupon next door to their place. It wasn't the coupon. You know what it was? It was that I remembered them, I knew what they liked to eat, and I knew where they worked. And it showed them that right now, he's not doing any business with me. And so why does he care? But he cared enough to put a stamp on something with a silly little coupon of a thing he knew I liked next door to my work. It's those things that matter. So the incremental little things you do that step it up over the average. So the one more phone call, the one more handwritten note, the one more follow-up call, the one more open house next year, but not just the open house. We talked about it earlier, doing the mega open house, doing the things before, during, and after that step up the open house. The one more book to read, the one more day you take for yourself, the 20 minutes more, the exercise week. I can't tell you the difference between even doing a little bit of cardio or not doing cardio, how it affects me. You must be consistent. If you have goals and plans, you need to stick to it. If you keep doing the right things and activities, good things are going to come from it. You can still see my screen, right?
Yes.
All right, so I think we're gonna have to do a part 2 on all this stuff. You know, it's been an hour and a half. I don't want to wear you out, but we will go over a part 2 of actually the physical business planning and looking at your numbers. And then I would say, and again, I'm going to post all this, writing down your ideal business and what it will look like 1 year from today. So
Hey,
again,
Guy.
yes.
It's Anthony.
Yes, Anthony.
Can you send it to me, the interactive slide, the planner on how many calls made a day for gross commission, how many appointments, et cetera, what percentage of commission per transaction to get to your ultimate revenue goal?
Yep. And
can you send that?
Absolutely. And by the way, if anybody has not clicked on Moxie Engage, that has that in there as well. But I will send it to Anthony.
Yeah, it's on the. Yeah, I see it in Moxie. He had sent one out in his business planning presentation that had about 3 or 4 more variables that were on that interactive planning page. If you can send that out, I would greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Do videos. Again, get out of your comfort zone. Make phone calls, send out mailers. Again, some people want to do one and done. One and done does not typically work. You could get lucky. You could get a phone call from it. But if you're sending out blanketed, standard mailers, it's fine. It works. If you're doing other things with it, you do it with repetition. You're doing stuff in the community to be seen. It's not going to just work on its own if you spend $1,000 sending out some kind of mailer one time. Obviously, the more you send out, the higher probability that you'll get a return on it. But you really have to do other things along with that. So that's key. And then I've already told you that you can send out a targeting letter that, is either in a blank white envelope, or some people do all different things with it, and then make it specialized, make it about their property. So you heard agents yesterday talking about properties they were looking for their buyers. Again, if that agent's not actively going out and sending those mailers out, you should send the mailers out and say, I have someone in my office, someone on my team, someone here who is looking for this property. If you are interested, please call me. I will make this happen. So again, I have templates that help you with that, but there's opportunities out there to not only be able to sell that buyer that property, but if that is not working, you've now made a new contact, you develop it, and you get the potential listing out of it. That is key. So again, here we go, 10 deals per year, average price, and you can see exactly what happens if your value proposition at 2.5 2.7, 3%. I should put 1% in there just so you can see what 1% agents do. 20.
That's the one I was talking about, Guy. Thanks.
Okay. All right. So 2021, 2022, 2023, new year, new energy. Start working on the 22 business plan and your goals now. So again, you should have been working on it. Many of you have already done it, and you're just listening to see what opportunities are here for you to get yourself re-energized and get your database together and get your thoughts together on what things you should be doing. But again, it's key. Holiday pop buys, we talked about that. You know, I'm a big proponent of what Brian Buffini talks about as far as connecting and prospecting by referrals and making sure that you're doing those daily things. Laura's group was here giving out pies not too long ago in the warm, balmy temperatures. I'm being funny, it was actually cold out that day. And but again, that's a rewarding thing, that's a give back thing, and that does matter. Finally, you can't live a positive life with a negative mind. I can't reiterate, again, if you got negative in your ear or you have a negative attitude, you'll find out if you go negative with me, I don't feed into it. I don't know if you've seen my meetings or whatever, when someone's going, wah, 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 I will stop that. Maybe they don't even realize they're doing it. Maybe they just had a bad moment when they got onto the, Zoom call. But, or if you've been at a physical meeting and you've seen me do it, it's not good. Coming at things negative are not going to be helpful in your habits, your attitude to others. And like I said, even when you have that negative thing that happens or you get consumed with something negative, before you go and do the next task, before you contact your next client, before you interact with that next agent, that could be the difference between them pitching your offer versus someone else's offer, right? Think, go at it positively, and remember, you are this business person, you're the CFO, CMO, CEO, all those, right? But more importantly, you in the transaction are representing that client, and your fiduciaries are with that client. And are you going to project something negative to someone while you're representing that party? That is key. And when you're positive and you're making things happen and you're successful with that, and that person's feeling that energy, that positive energy, when that deal is done and you've done it right from the beginning to the end, and you've exceeded expectations, and you've handled things, obstacles that come up, and they will come up, and you've handled them with the right mindset, and you've resolved the issues, and they have now settled the property, and you've done everything you were supposed to do in the right frame of mind and right mindset, now you have a raving fan. And then you want to cultivate that with systems in place with, again, it may seem canned, but you want to consistently go at them and keep them as your client. So stay positive with your deals. Wake up in the morning. If things are hitting you in a negative way, try to turn around and change it and make yourself positive. I hope all this was helpful. Any last thoughts before we wrap it up? We're done as far as the training that I wanted to go over. We will do a part 2 where we actually have physical papers. I'll set that up shortly, but I also, like Anthony said, I'll post that, but I'm going to post the entire meeting and some other documents I want you guys to fill out. And then if you want to have one-on-ones with me, that's great as well. All right, we all good?
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, I hope
Great.
that was
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Guy. Good stuff. Have a great day, everybody.
Very good stuff.
everybody be safe out there and prospect, get your goals together.
You too. Thanks, Guy.
Bye-bye.